I remember it was Sunday afternoon. I was alone in my apartment. I went out to the balcony. Then I don't remember anything else, but for what the police say, I think that the door locked from my balcony locked. So I was outside. It was very cold. I'm very sensitive to cold, so I must have maybe cried for help and yelled. And as nobody would listen to me, I think I tried to go down from my balcony to the second and first floor, but I fell.
Luckily for her, it was quite cold at night, so I guess that preserved a little bit her body and her brain, especially because she had no pulse and no vitals when she was brought to the hospital.
I remember sort of looking at her CT scan, and just had a real bad feeling in my gut about doing surgery. But I figured that, given the circumstances, that doing surgery right away would really only be her only chance.
She had a lot of blood in her head, basically, and that had to be drained. And the doctor explained me that it was quite unfortunate, but most of the people who were brought in the hospital in such a condition would not make it.
And the anesthesiologist looked at me and sort of, we both sort of knew that either we would continue what we were doing or we would call the case.
What I really loved is the fact that the doctors, the surgeon, even though she was brought as a Jane Doe, as someone who was found in the street and no one was asking for her, I mean, until the last moment, even when she was dead, basically, they tried to pull her back.
You never want to give up, especially in a case like this, and so my gut feeling was to press forward.
The doctors understood that she had a big family and so many people caring for her.
When I got to the ICU, I was just sort of putting my head down and trying to think about how I could tell that this patient's family.
Yeah, it was tough. At some point, I was ready to, I was accepting to have her being blind or handicapped for the rest of her life, but she had to come back. She had to come back. She had to be saved. It was very, very selfish, but just for me, she couldn't let go like this.
And at the time, the only person that was there was her fiance. And I remember going up to him in the ICU, and we both introduced ourselves.
And it was also very hard to accept and to endure.
My son started to talk with her and telling her how much he loved her. And after a while of conversation, my son asked my daughter, Inez, "Tell me, Inez, if you are able to hear me." And then Inez answered with a little smile on her left side of her face. And that was a terrible shock for us because we were so happy. And after that, Juan Carlos keep on talking with Inez, and then she said, "If you are hearing me, sister, tell me, moving your finger." And because her right side of her body was in a big shock, it was only the left side that she was able to move. So she said yes with this kind of signal.
I did remember, though, things that people would say to me in the hospital when I was in a coma. And I thought that they had said all those things to me while I was at work, while I was at my desk, and I was in my desk, and they would come to me and they would say something like, "You had an accident, promise me you're never going to do it again," or things like that. And I would say, yes, okay, I promise. Or like, your ex-boss would call you like this, did you know that? And I would be like, yeah, I remember, yeah, she calls me like that. And they would be talking to me during the coma, and I thought that it was during work, but actually I was in a coma. But I do remember that, because when I woke up, and I did remember, I would start like making them questions like, hey, did this happen really? Or did I imagine it? Or did you say it? But did you say it before the accident? And people would be like, no, it happened, but we were talking to you, but you were in a coma.
The first time Ines talked, it was in the ICU, something about like 4.5 days after the accident. So it was very, very rapid. I was not expecting anything. You know, we had just taken her, all those devices, all those tubes that were in her mouth for quite some time, and she was still a bit injured in all those areas. And she made a tremendous effort to be able to talk and to breathe out a word, if you wish. And she managed to talk to me and tell me, squeezing my hand as much as she could, I love you.
So I woke up one day in hospital, in rehab. I don't remember anything. It's amazing how our body, it's this great machine that works so perfectly, and we don't understand that until we have an accident like the one I had, and which makes you realize and acknowledge that things are not granted. You don't have to take life for granted. I mean, really, you value your life a lot more, and every single detail about our body and how it reacts and how it works so perfectly together.
About 2 months after our daughter's injury, we went to Dr. Escuyan's office to see him.
Dr. Escuyan was the one that received me that day. He was the one that performed the surgery. He was on call that day in the hospital.
And then you realize what's important in life. What's important in life is not your career. What's important in life is not money or leisure or anything like that. What's important in life is to have your family, your couple, to have all the people you love, basically being safe and around you, and to be fine with them, basically. It was the only thing that was important. I mean, I could have given everything I had in the world to save Ines.
And that's why we want to make clear that my wife and me are very grateful to this neurosurgeon because of his efforts, and to the institution and to all the people that in one way or another participated in her recovery. Thank you, all of you, because we can say anymore and we can do anymore.
This is probably one of the most emotional things that's ever happened to me, is to meet her family.
We are so happy, everything worked out so well. And
thanks to you and thanks to you. You have a great son. Thank you so much.
I love you.
Boy, what a terrible haircut I gave you, Ines.
I was really thankful. I think I'm always going to be thankful to him for what he did and for saving my life and doing an amazing job. I have no words. And like I told him, I had already talked to him over the phone, and I told him I think I'm never going to have enough words to tell you how grateful I am for what he did.